Hello there, Star Wars fans, and welcome back to another Rebelscum.com video. Today marks a momentous day for the game X-Wing. We are getting not a full reboot this time, but a soft reboot with the release of this expansion pack. So this isn't the expansion pack that, of course, is piloting the reboot. This is just coming out at the same time as the reboot. So, X-Wing introduced a whole bunch of new rules. Atomic Mass Games is now the home of X-Wing miniatures, and as they were doing new Mandalorian sub-faction stuff, they also wanted to rebalance the game and make it a little bit better. There was a lot of good things that were fixed over 2.0 when the game was relaunched a few years back, but Atomic Mass Games just tweaked a few more things that honestly make some of the aspects of the game a lot more fun than it was, and
It just got a little stale. They just needed a little freshening up.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff that they could have done, but when you design a game, you kind of get stuck in a little bit of a rut. You have to kind of stay in your lane, so to speak. So AMG came in and said, we're going to refresh the game. A lot of the same mechanics are still there, still the same ships, but how you build your ships are different. How you're pretty much forced to engage now. You can't just fly around, do your own thing. You're going to have to shoot at your opponent. And this was the first pack that kind of was like their way of saying, you know what, it's not, like you said, not a reboot or a relaunch. I'd probably just say like a refresh. But a lot of pretty cool stuff is in this.
There's a lot of awesome stuff. You'll notice right here in front of me we have a TIE Fighter LN and we have a Fang Fighter. So Fang Fighters were previously exclusive to the Scum and Villainy faction. However, with the excitement of the Mandalorian the past few years, and of course with some new Mandalorian ships coming in the game X-Wing here pretty soon, so later this year we expect to see the Gauntlet Fighter, which is going to be a large space ship and much larger than the Fang Fighter, of course.
The largest ship in the game, actually, too.
And also, soon after that, we will be seeing, or at the same time, I'm not sure how the release is going for that, but soon we will also be seeing the X-Wing Miniatures Razor Crest model. I'm very excited to fly that.
It should be at the same time, I believe.
And what they're doing with all these exciting new X-Wing releases, all these new Mando releases, one of the things they also tweaked with the launch of 2.5 was I like that they're going to start exploring sub-faction stuff within the game of X-Wing. So now we're going to have this full-on Mandalorian sub-faction. So out of your 7 playable factions in the game, you can you can field in your list Mandalorians within 5 of those factions. Now, we can't do that right this second because some of those items are going to be, some of the Mando stuff isn't going to be available in Empire or Republic just yet, as we're waiting on the Gauntlet Fighter for that. We're waiting on the Razor Crest for some other things. So this just adds a bunch of new crew, a few new pilots, a bunch of new pilot cards for the Fang Fighters in the Rebel Alliance faction, some new TIE Fighter pilots. We're getting Moff Gideon and another thing. And
I do like how they really dug deep into the lore. It wasn't just, here's a few obvious, here's Finn Rau here, here's Finn Rau there. Right. If you watch the show, if you know everything about like the Darksaber, all that kind of stuff.
If you follow the Clone Wars, if you follow Rebels.
Everybody in here is a Mandalorian on some official, unofficial level. They are all related to the Mandalorian lore, which
is really cool. So I just brought these just as visual aids here, as these are the ships that are corresponded to mostly with the items in this pack. So what we get here is, of course, you can go down the list and see, but we're going to break it down for you right there. First of all, I love the artwork on the front of the box here. We have Duchess Satine's yacht. We have a couple of Fang Fighters because, the Protectors are essentially the royal guards for whatever the current Mandalore is at the time. So it only makes sense that you would have a couple of Skull Squadron Protectorates flanking her craft. And there is some cool Skull Squadron stuff in here. Duchess Satine is now playable. She's not a pilot, but she is going to be a playable add-on into the game in this, which is really cool. And
a few little nudge.
A few little nudge things that we thought. I don't know if it was planned if somebody
If it
in
wasn't
AMG,
intentional, that was just so beautifully done.
right?
But that was,
If somebody in AMG was just being sneaky, like, hey,
yeah,
yeah,
we know
look at
something you
this.
don't.
We know something that everybody else, that a lot of people have been saying.
Mhm.
You know, that we're waiting on Disney or Filoni to just say
Yeah.
out loud.
Yeah, we might get that in a
Maybe.
show to come out.
So
From there.
here's the new pilot cards. They come in a nice little baggie here. Here's the new pilot cards and upgrade cards that come in this pack.
And I
Here
will say one thing.
here's our
So
new
cool that it's in a
cardboard.
baggie and not shrink wrap.
I like
I
that
love how
too.
they do that because cardboard you're gonna have to do, but there's so many cards always got damaged when they were shrink wrapped. So kudos to them for putting that in a
That
baggie.
is very nice. I love right out before you even get this open. I love the new obstacles.
Mhm.
The new obstacles we got. The asteroids just
Asteroids
look
and debris
really
field.
pretty. The
Mhm.
debris field looks cool. We get our list of. If I can get out of the box, we got our list of things in here as well, and some little strategies and tips on how to use some of the things that we're getting in this pack.
And some rule. These are 2.5 rules too,
Yep.
so they did time this just right.
They timed it perfectly, and there are some cool new things. And then of course we've got our little pieces for when we put our dials together. So let's go ahead. Let's get into the cardboard stuff first. That'll be easier, less stuff to cover there. Go ahead and pull the shrink wrap off of that. Okay, so again, like right there out of the front, we got 3 new asteroids, a new debris. We got a token that goes along with one of the upgrades, another token that goes along with one of the other upgrades, a thermal detonator that is a device that you can drop if you like to slot bombs or devices on your ships. Second one we got right here, we got 2 other debris clouds. So you got some destroyed Fang fighters, you got some destroyed A-wings, like from that episode in Rebels. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen that, but I mean,
And these
Rebels has
are
been around for a while.
Yeah, and these are brand new debris. These are not just rehash, reprints, repaints, whatever. These are completely new shapes.
New shapes
So
as
this,
well.
the only
Yeah.
way to get these is with this pack.
I'm gonna be using these a lot. I'm
I
very
love
excited for these.
the space field purplish they put on there.
Here's our new templates, and some of them are dual factional.
Mm-hmm.
So on this side you've got here. I'll go and pop it out. On this side you've got the Rebel Clan Ren Volunteer, but on this side you've got the Scum and Villainy Mandalorian Royal Guard. So I mean, I like to keep all of my ship bases together anyway, but that's going to be a little interesting for some
And
of
what
the
they did
new
was they
fans.
kind of listened to the fan base. If you notice, like this one, it's different factions on either side, and the ones that are same faction are the same pilot. So that way, you're not being forced to buy multiple packs just to get the cardboard. I think it's a nice touch because before, sometimes you had to buy multiple ships just to be able to fly.
I also
Two games.
like with all the new stuff. We didn't get any new TIE LN dials because odds are, if you're an X-wing player, even if you don't fly the Imperial faction, odds are you have at least 1 or 2 TIE LN models sitting around somewhere with a couple of dials. So with this, because you want to fly multiples of these, and you can fly up to 5. So with this, you got 5 Rebel dials for the Fang Fighter. Now, the dials are the same. Any seasoned X-Wing player knows, as long as you're flying the appropriate dial, it doesn't matter if it's the same color, as long as it's the right dial for the ship.
And if you bought the miniature, you have the Scum
You've
dial
got
already.
right.
But
But it's nice for those, especially if you like to keep everything matching. If you're flying a Rebel, faction Fang Fighter list, to have the Rebel faction
and it's
dials
the
out
same
there.
dial underneath. So
Right.
that's one thing I like what they're doing is that they're giving you new components with this ship, but you don't necessarily have to use. I mean, obviously it'd be good to use all the Rebel dials, but you don't necessarily have to carry 10, 20 dials with you. If you only had the
Right.
Scum ones, as long as they all match, you're okay. But
We also got some new explosion templates. So there's this new explosion template that corresponds to one of the new devices we have in this pack. We've got this new device that we get to launch. That's also something we'll be going over soon. I forget what this one is. This the discharge
I think that's the Chafe Cloud.
chafe cloud?
It's in the,
It'll be in the thing.
Yeah.
We'll be able to go over that
but
in a
that's
moment.
not necessarily new. That's
So there's a lot of cool new things. You get another delayed fuses. You get some force tokens because there are some new force crew cards. You get some other tokens that you'd be getting in most other expansions throughout the game. So there's all that. For those of you who might be unfamiliar with how to put, I guess I should at least go over how to assemble a dial. Since we're going over this, for those of you who don't know how to assemble a dial, you take each half. Say you get an expansion pack with multiple ships with different dials in it. You just match it up. You'll have a you'll have a little bit of abbreviation of the name of the ship on there, and it'll correspond to what it is. So you'll take these two halves, you'll put it on like so. You'll take one of these little plastic bits that I've got over here, if I can get the baggie open.
Yeah, the name for the inside. I don't know why they do this now, but it's on the,
Yeah,
the
it's
part
on
you
the
take out.
it's on the center part.
It usually is printed on the actual dial, but that's kind of interesting.
So you just take one half, put it through, push it all the way through on the other one too. So just line up the hole. There we go. Put the cap on, and now you can set your dial.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That easy. Okay, so let's go over some pilot cards. First things first. They added a couple of new pilots to the TIE LN because the TIE LN didn't already have enough pilots.
Yeah.
It's probably the ship at this point in the game that has the most pilot cards attached to it.
Yeah, I don't even think it's close as far as
I can't think of another ship that comes anywhere close to it. It's got more than 10.
At the top of my head, I can't think. I mean, maybe. Well, I was gonna say first order tie, but that's kind of, A or B there. That's not really.
It's not really that different.
Not really that far, but yeah, I think Empire TIE fighters.
Okay.
Well, I mean that goes with the lore too. There should be tons of them.
Right. So first things first, we've got 2 new pilot cards for the TIE LN. Now, I know some people are going to say, wait, he wasn't flying a TIE LN. That's true. He was flying a new model of TIE LN, the TIE, I believe it's called the Outlander.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the version that has the foldable wings. Not all TIE LNs have foldable wings. So we have Moff Gideon. They added him.
And correct me, that was actually the, I don't want to say prototype, but like the original design of the TIE fighter, wasn't it? That had the closing wings, or am I mistaken?
I believe it's a prototype somewhere down the road, or I think that was something they established later.
No.
My memory's a little fuzzy on that at the moment. Anyway, he's got a whole new ship ability. Go ahead and pause that if you want to read. If not, while an enemy ship at range 1 to 3 defends, before attack dice are rolled, you may spend a charge, and he comes with 2 charges. For attack dice are rolled, you may spend a charge and choose a friendly ship at range 0-1 of the defender. So the defender being the ship that you're attacking. If you do, defense dice cannot be modified during this attack, and the chosen friendly ship gains a strain token. So that will affect the dice that your friendly ship are rolling, but it keeps it to where your opponent can't use a focus to get out of getting shot if they roll a focus result, or spending that target lock.
You're basically taking a strain
you can't
to
spend a
say
target lock on that anyway.
The ship that's getting attacked can't modify their dice. So
Right.
there is a cost associated to it, which is nice. So that way, when that ship defends, they're going to be rolling 1 less. So there's a good balance there.
Right.
Like I said, he only has 2 charges. So if you're flying a swarm, you only get 1 charge back around. So you have to.
You got to choose it wisely.
Choose it wisely. Yeah.
Next up, we also get ISB Jingoist. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that.
I just call them ISBs.
Anyway, ISB Jingoist. Someone in the comments, please put the
Somebody
proper
watching us
pronunciation.
right now is yelling at us saying what it is.
Yeah, it's no, like someone's just like, it's this. It's this.
Yeah.
It's this.
Is it
like,
L or Law? I can't.
I'm not quite sure. Anyway, please in the comments of the forum let us know how to properly pronounce that. Before you engage, you may choose 1 enemy ship in your front arc at range 0-1. If you do, that ship gains 1 deplete or strain token of your choice unless it chooses to remove 1 green token, which is another really awesome ability. And I love the artwork there with the capital city of Mandalore there
Which
in the
is
background.
also on the cover of the box as well.
Right, the capital city is on the cover, except you don't have any TIE fighters there because that's a pre-Empire image. This is a obviously post-Empire image, but before, the Night of
Tears.
The Night of Tears, which wow, that was Moff Gideon is
quality.
I mean, we already knew the man was ruthless, but man,
he is the first
awesome.
character that I think in the Empire that backs up his words. That he didn't even have to talk. He's just like, you know what's going to happen.
Right.
Don't play. Don't play.
Right. All right. So that's it for the tie LNs. Some of you are thinking, why are two tie LNs in the Pride of Mandalore pack? Well, technically, if you want to be technical, Moff Gideon is or was at one point the rightful ruler of Mandalore. Technically, therefore making him Mandalore. Did he take the creed? No. But then again, I mean, not everybody subscribes to the same beliefs of the way,
Well,
right?
that, and I think now that the Razor Crest is going to be coming out and the Gauntlet's coming out, you kind of had to have the other side.
Kind of had to have
And
Moff Gideon, even if you don't consider him to be a Mandalorian or the ruler Mandalore, which again,
Well, like you were saying,
technically he was.
and we don't need another TIE fighter pack, so
We don't need another
this was
TIE
a
fighter
good
pack.
little balance to
Right.
Th-
Just a little bit
throw
more
our
something.
Empire friends a bone and give them something.
All right, so there's that. That's it for the pilot cards for the TIE LN. Next up, we got all the new Rebel cards and the couple. Well, I say couple. The
It's
one
the same
new
pilot, yeah.
pilot for Scum and Villainy. So here we have the new Rebel pilot Fen Rao on the Fang Fighter, and we already had him on the Phantom 2. He's still on the Phantom 2. You can still fly him on the Phantom 2, but now we have him in the Fang Fighter and Rebel. So he still has Concordia face-off, just like the Scum and Villainy
I do
ship
believe
ability.
every Fang fighter, regardless of the faction, has the Concordia face off.
And it's nice to see that it carried over because honestly it should, because it was a ship ability, not a pilot ability. So still has Concordia face off. So there's Fen Rao, so you can read his ability if you like. Feel free to pause and read. But if not, before a friendly ship at range 1-2 engages, if there is an enemy ship in its front arc at range 1, that friendly ship may remove one non-lock red token, which that's kind of cool. That's very different from his Scum ability.
He cannot use it on himself. This is way different. Finral before was all about being range 1,
Getting in
just
there.
get into it, slugging each other out. This one's more of a support. He's more of a wing leader than he is just an ace by himself, which is what you're going to see in these later cards. That these are meant to be flown together.
Yeah.
This isn't like I'm going to bring Finn and 3 other rebel guys. This is meant to be a Mandalorian wave.
So, and then of course Concordia face off, you still have that awesome ability, so you still get to have that jousting ability that you know and love with the Fang Fighters, for those of you familiar with the game. While you defend, if the attack range is 1 and you are in the attacker's firing arc, main front firing arc is as it depicts, change one result to an evade result. So you just get to change one of your green dice to an evade result.
They
which
love
is
to
very
be at
nice.
range 1.
And this is a ship you joust with. Despite not having shields, this is a ship you joust with. And that's always what the Fang Fighters have been known for.
And with the new rules, it's going to be tricky with the new being able to do stuff at range 0. So you're going to have to be a little careful how you fly these guys, because before it was all about just getting nose to nose fighting. Now you got to be careful because none of these abilities apply at range 0.
Right.
It's all range 1.
Right. So, okay, so next up we've got Boudica Venge. So there's Boudica Venge. Her pilot ability is, after another friendly ship defends, if you are not depleted, you may perform a bonus primary attack against the attacker, and if you do, after performing that attack, gain 1 deplete token. So that's a really awesome pilot ability.
In my opinion, the best ability out of any pilot in this entire pack. Just being able to performing a bonus deck in this game is just money. But the fact is, you can use this card to fly another ship up, have it take the shot, and then they automatically just to do a bonus attack right in there.
Right.
You don't even have to. I mean, there's so many triggers that you could do off of it, but that's a talk for another time. But to me, this is probably the steal of the entire wave.
I'm also loving, in case you feel free to go back a little bit and look at the artwork while I was showing the pilot cards. I'm also loving the very Clan Ren looking artwork on and paint jobs on these Fang Fighter designs, which makes sense because Clan Ren is after the Protectorates got wiped out, is the main Mandalorian clan that got involved with the rebellion during the events of Rebels. If you haven't watched it, you're missing a truly awesome piece of Star Wars. Just give it a chance. I think you'll really enjoy it.
It is the best world-building series in all of Star Wars.
All right, so next up we've got Dirk Uladin. So that's Dirk Uladin. That's our last named pilot for the Rebels. So we only got 3 named pilots for the Fang Fighters in the Rebel faction. And he is, after you fully execute a red maneuver or perform a red action, you may acquire a lock on an enemy ship in your front arc at range 1. So that's really nice. Again, the whole thing with Fang Fighters is joust them. Roll those dice on getting up close and personal and getting up in their face, because while you might take some hits, Fang Fighters really are good at dealing out some heavy punishment to the ships they get up close and personal.
One thing we didn't mention too is they all have the same action bars. So
they do all
other
have
than the abilities, because it does say perform a red maneuver, which is going to be like a sloop or a roll, or you can link into like a barrel roll or a boost, and then you focus.
So say for example, you could take this guy over here. Here's Moff Gideon. He's getting ready for the kill. Yeah, and you do you do it. We're trying to play it safe. You did a 2 straight. Well, now you can boost in, link it to a red focus to get that firing bonus in case you roll focus results. And now you're also within range 1. His ability's going off, and it's just awesome stuff from there. Moff Gideon's probably not going to make it out of that engagement, despite what he has loaded on to that card, or loaded onto that loadout right there. And that's just why the Fang Fighters are just so much fun to fly. All right, so there we go. I think this is really going to refresh a lot of things. It's going to change a lot of the ways Rebel faction players build their lists. We're going to start seeing, things like Wedge and a couple other things out there, I imagine, here pretty soon.
You can see it, but I think it's kind of like you're saying, it's more like a sub-faction. So you'll have Rebel stuff in there, but you could do Rebel Fangs, which they fly so differently than any other ship. Like Luke and Wedge thing, they're hard hitters, but they don't have the dials that the Fangs do. I mean, Wedge and Luke can take a couple of hits and survive. Fangs may not be able to, but they're going to make sure when you're going to start slugging it out, they are going to take a ship or two with them, especially with these new abilities. We can do bonus attacks. You can make sure people don't roll dice. I mean, these are game changers. And a lot of people are like, why isn't Rebel getting anything? Why aren't we getting any new ships? I'm like, this is why. This is what was coming.
We got a good new ship. Yeah. All right, so last but not least, for the Rebel pilots, for the Rebel Fang Fighter pilots, here we have the Clan Ren Volunteer. So you'll notice it's got 2 dots as opposed to the specific named ships that have 1 dot.
Which also had the TIE Fighter had 2.
So rule of thumb is if it's got 1 dot, that means on a list you can only fly a max of that 1 character. And that even includes, say you put Luke Skywalker in the X-Wing, and then you put Han Solo on the Falcon. You can't also slot Luke Skywalker as a crew member on the Falcon or a gunner or whatever, because he's already in the X-Wing. Or you can't just build a list with 3 or 4 Luke X-Wing pilots. You can only fly one of those. Now, alternatively, if it's got no dot, that means within the confines of the point limits on the list, you can fly as many as that pilot as you want. But if it has 2 dots, that means you can fly a maximum of 2 of that pilot, because it's still a generic, but it's a little bit better than your regular non-pilot ability generic. So they still have to put some balancing factor on there. That's why we've got 2 dots on this guy, because honestly, this is a pretty awesome TIE Fighter pilot right here. I might rethink the list I put together earlier.
I want to say, I think about 95% of this pack is limited, which is
actually
nice.
All of the pilots.
100%
of the pilots in this list are limited.
I think there's a couple of upgrades that are not, but we'll get to those.
And so here's Clan Ren Volunteer. So this is a 2-dot pilot, and you can of course read that ability. But its pilot ability is, while you perform an attack at range 1, again get up close and personal. If the speed of your revealed maneuver matches that of the friendly ship at range 1, you may re-roll 1 attack die. So that's pretty neat.
And that's why you bring 2, and if they do the same maneuver, they both get the benefit of the ability.
Right.
But like I said, here's your list right here. These 4 ships are going to... I cannot wait to see these 4 on the table. I mean, I'm probably going to fly it. It's going to get a little bit of a learning curve with the new rules, because before, when you hit that 0 mark, you're like, oh, okay, I'm fine. But Fangs at range 1, man. deadly.
I agree.
Deadly.
All right, and last but not least, the last pilot card we get in this pack is the Mandalorian Royal Guard. So this is the card that's got the artwork on the front of the box. Mandalorian Royal Guard is, while a friendly, non-small ship defense, so medium or large base, if you are in the attack arc, you may gain 1 deplete and 1 strain token. If you do, the defender may change 1 result to an evade result. So you're taking 1 for the team, basically. There, you're not taking the damage, but you're gonna limit yourself for your potential next engagement, unless of course it's already engaged, and let let whoever else get at a little bit. So say you've got these 2 guys supporting Fen Rao. Someone's got some good shots on Fen Rao. You got these 2 guys flying next to him. You can give one or the other a strain or deplete token, and then he gets another evade. That with Concordia face off, that's a pretty good combo right there. I'm looking forward to seeing lists with that.
What was the first wording on that? It was
while a friendly non-small ship. It couldn't work for.
See, what I think this is going to be something that's going to supplement the Razor Crest wave.
I didn't even think about that.
So what you're kind of seeing is a lot of people are like, why is this in? It doesn't really fit the overall theme. It's apparently because there's more stuff coming out.
There is more coming.
So when that gauntlet comes out and you fly a Scum pilot, you bring these 2 here. Basically, it's going to be really hard to get a lot of hits on it. But like I said, it's a lot of additions here that are going to change a lot of builds.
I've already had a lot of fun putting together some of the new, just with the new rules alone. Some of the new lists have been a lot of fun to put together.
A lot of these are reasonably priced too. None of these are really. I'm not too expensive.
In points, right?
Yeah. Not a lot of loadout stuff, which things don't really take a lot. Finn's always going to have his stuff because he is the maverick of the faction.
Even looking at ties here, usually you can fly quite a bit of ties together. Moff Gideon, when I was looking at some list building earlier, is only 4 out of 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course your upgrades are associated. He's got his own upgrades that out of his cost. And you can put
TIE
some
fighters
decent stuff
are
on him.
They're a swarm faction. They're not.
But it's
not about the upgrades.
It's pretty cool the stuff you can fly with Gideon here, because you can put a decent squadron on the side of Gideon.
Some interceptors, some regular ties, maybe a Vader perhaps.
I put together a list recently so it's Moff Gideon with some upgrades on him, and 4 TIE interceptors to the side of them, and they're all loaded out. It's going to be a fun list to fly, I think. All right, that's enough pilot talk for the moment. Let's talk about some upgrades. Of course, you got your quick builds here. So if you want some quick build advice on how to build a decent list, how they suggest some things, go for it. I don't use those. We got a couple of new upgrade ability cards.
These are for the conditions. There's some cards in here that you depending on what you do, you can handle some conditions, but we'll get to those in a second.
So we got a new Sabine. So this is a new Rebel Sabine crew card, and I forget what.
This was the only card to me I thought was kind of weird because this is an epic card, so you can only fly it in epic.
So I'm gonna go and put that up.
So we got this little symbol right here, man, that's a wing symbol, I believe, top of my head, but that limits the play. So like this is not for your standard scenario or regular play. So
anyway, with that we got set up before placing forces. Assign the trials of the Darksaber condition to yourself. While you perform a coordinate action, you may coordinate 1 additional friendly ship. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so what it basically says is that while you perform an attack, you can spend the crit, and if your opponent's ahead, you get to strip a victory point off of it and put it on this card. And then at the end of the game, there's conditions where you can score those extra points. So it's kind of a very overpowered card in standard play, so that's why they kind of kept it on for the epic card.
I'm gonna stick with the crew and gunner cards that we got added to this game for what we go over next, just because that's kind of how I like to go over
all
things.
In order after that. That was one that looks like it was kind of thrown in last minute just for the epic players.
Right. Okay, so here we go. So first things first, for Republic or Scum faction, now she's added to both because of the things she was doing in between seasons 5 and 7 of the Star Wars: The Clone Wars, we've got a new Ahsoka Tano crew card upgrade. So here's that new Ahsoka. She's got that awesome Season 7 Mandalore artwork there. She's got her 2 sabers behind her. I love that image. First of all, when they put together new stuff in X-Wing, the artwork is always fantastic.
And they have brought on a bunch of new artists, and it shows on these cards.
They've done some really, really great artwork. This is a card, and that's one of the other things I love about X-Wing is the collectible cards, especially character cards in this game. If you ever go to a con and you want to meet a celeb, and you don't quite have that action figure, because maybe that action figure is like a $40, $50 action figure, it's harder to get. Well, this would be perfect,
we try to get some of
ahead
those
of
when we
time
have
go,
people come
yeah,
by, but yeah,
and get it
everybody's
signed.
like, "Oh, where did you get that?"
It's always fun
we
when
got
you.
Boba Fett signed.
It's always fun when you go to an X-Wing event and you just see somebody, you just pull out a crew card or a pilot card signed by a Star Wars actor or actress. So
Like,
it's
who you
always
got,
exciting.
Boba? Yeah, it's signed by Boba. I win. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so here's the new Ahsoka. Again, she's for either the Republic faction or Scum faction. And there is new Republic stuff for Mandos coming out. While we didn't get any new Fang fighters, although if you ask me, we should have, because Skull Squadron did fly with the Republic during the events of the Clone Wars in canon. Anyway, we're not going to get on that tangent today. After you fully execute a maneuver, you may spend 1 force, and she has 1 rechargeable force on this upgrade, to choose 1 friendly ship in your rear arc section of your ship, regardless if you have a rear firing arc or not. It's just that section of the base. At range 1 to 2, if you do, that ship may perform a red focus action even while stressed. This is a really, really good ability because say you might have wanted to have that force to spend on, your on whatever you slotted this on, but maybe your ace or your Fang fighter that you were counting on to get a good shot off, maybe you just mismeasured a little bit, you bumped another ship, you lost your action, you don't get to perform a focus or maybe the target lock you needed to do. This helps you recover that a little bit. This lets you get that
This is a new counter, the new overlapping rules, especially on your large base ships.
Right.
People may come up in front of you, block your large base. This allows you to help the ships behind you before they move, because a focus token in 2.5 is worth its weight in gold.
I mean, and it's always been a good safe bet action to do, even if you're sitting there and you really wanted to do a target lock, but it's just not quite in range. It's always been a good safe bet if you have the ability, and most ships do. Most pilots do in X-Wing. If you have the opportunity to at least take a focus token, even if if you think there's no chance you're going to be seeing engagement that round, take it anyway.
Yeah.
Always take a focus token where you can get it, if you have no other option. All right, next up we've got Bo-Katan, and we got a few different Bo-Katan crew cards. So this is a nice little thing too. So here's the Republic Separatist. This is Clone Wars era Bo-Katan. So you got her there in the looks like the throne room of Mandalore. And while this version of Bo-Katan, while you perform an attack, if you're at range 0-1 of the defender, you may re-roll 1 attack die. So this is a nice aggressive bow, which she was much, much more aggressive during the Clone Wars era. We definitely saw a lot of that Bo-Katan rage and anger in the Clone Wars series. So I think that fits that character perfectly.
Yeah, this is one of those cards where I'm kind of wondering if there's going to be an FAQ on, because now that they changed the rules, it says you cannot modify your dice at range 0, but she says 0 to 1. There might be some clarification on some of these cards, but I'm kind of curious to see where they go with that.
Right. All right. So next up, we've got our other version of Bo. So this is the Trilogy Trilogen. For those of you who are in on that inside joke, or original trilogy, Bo-Katan right here. So she's a little different from the Clone Wars era Bo. A little bit more matured, a little bit more experienced than the younger Bo. Not quite as aggressive. After you perform an attack, if the defender was destroyed, each friendly ship at range 0-2 may remove 1 red or orange token. So this is a more teamwork-oriented Bo. This is for, again, Rebel or Scum factional play. So there you go. That's a pretty cool. I like
Well,
how it's
remember all
completely
those
different.
when all those Fang Fighter Rebel pies that said take your strainer deplete to do X.
She can clear it
Here's
off.
a way to take them off. So,
Yeah.
like I said, a lot of these crew cards, obviously, there's probably somebody going, "Why are you getting crew cards when all you have is a bunch of small base?"
Well,
Because there's stuff coming out.
There's stuff coming out later, and there's nothing saying because it's Rebel or Scum. So there's nothing saying that you couldn't put Bo-Katan on the Millennium Falcon, for example,
or the Ghost,
or an Arc 170, or what else do we have?
Scum. There's so many possibilities.
Scum. Oh yeah, you can put her on just about anything under the sun.
Most Scum medium, large base all have crew slots.
Yeah.
But there's stuff coming. But
you could put her on the fire spray.
Well, yeah, on the Scum, well, with certain belts, yeah.
Yeah, you can put her on the fire spray. That's cool.
But he's not a Mandalorian.
I mean, we'll agree to disagree on that one. Next,
is it like an internal conflict if you put her and Boba on the same ship that they just start fighting?
Focus on what you're doing, princess. All right, next up, we got an Imperial upgrade because there were Mandalorians who worked with the Imperials. So this one is Captain Hark. After you fully execute a red maneuver, if you are not focused, you may spend 1 charge to gain 1 focus token. So again, that's a nice little thing there. Get you a focus where you need it, which is interesting because
non-reoccurring charge too. That's the key phrase. Like a lot of people are like, oh, that's too powerful, but that you
only get to use it twice.
That's it.
Once you use it, it's gone. All right, so even though he's been in the Rebel faction for a while, again, we mentioned earlier he was on the Phantom 2 as a pilot. Now he's finally a crew card in the Rebel faction, but he's also a crew card in Scum. So here we have the crew card Fen Rao. So now we can add Fen Rao to the Falcon. We can add him to the upcoming Gauntlet Fighter. We can add him to the Razor Crest when that comes out. We can add him to the Fire Spray. We can add him all kinds of stuff right now.
He can actually sit in the Ghost.
He can sit in the Ghost now. You can add him as a crew on the Phantom, rather as a pilot now.
Mm-hmm.
So here's Fen Rao. Before a friendly ship at range 02 engages, if its revealed maneuver is speed 1 or higher, so, I mean, I don't see what that matters in.
That is for the Gauntlet and the U-Wing that have
that have a stop.
I forgot
to stop as a thing.
You actually have to move.
Forgot stop as a thing. And there is an enemy ship in its firing arc at range 1. That friendly ship may remove 1 non-lock red token. Dang, man. Those remove non-lock tokens are
Well, that's when you say, like,
pretty frequent.
You're like,
here.
why would you want to take a deplete and do this? Well, you build it in such a way before you engage, you get rid of it.
Don't worry, Fenn's going to take care of that. All right, we got another Imperial crew member here. We've got Gar Saxon.
Yeah. I love
so
Gar
glad
Saxon.
to see Gar Saxon get a card.
Probably
one of these days we'll get an action figure for Gar Saxon, I hope.
Whole nother rant, but with all this new stuff about, you know, Maul getting his cartoon, Obi-Wan, I was like, can we get more Gar Saxon? I would love to see him in live action, but he was one of those side characters that just stole the show.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to see more of him. I'm glad to see him. It's kind of odd that he's Imperial and not maybe Scum, but
well, because he specifically sided with the Empire, in at least as of the point of Rebels. And
I know, but like picking a side, you know, that's a conversation for another time. But I thought it was just kind of weird that he was just Imperial and not Imperial and Scum.
I agree.
The guy can give him that little kind of doing his own thing. But
all right, so this one is, while a friendly unit at range 1 to 3 with an initiative of 4 or lower performs an attack against a defender you have locked. That's a mouthful. The attacker may change one focus result to a hit result. So that's a nice little, like, say you got your Gauntlet Fighter flying, you got a squadron of ties with it, you whiff the roll, you weren't able to get a focus on that. That at least gets one more damage that you could possibly push through.
If you had like guards, say like in a Decimator, and they lock, say Han Solo, all those little support ships you bring with them, just got a free hit out of it.
All right, so before we read the next one and then the one after that, and this is the order, it was packed in the thing.
We both had a happy little giggle after this because they're like,
wonder if this was intentional or not.
It had to be.
But here we have Corky Kreese.
Mm-hmm. The nephew of
Duchess Satine Kryze. Right next to the new Obi-Wan crew card that just so happens to have Duchess Satine in the artwork. Now, I don't know if that was some kind of from, AMG here.
Which is a little
But,
kind of funny that they have, it's an Obi-Wan card.
Right.
Not a Satine card.
Right, and Satine's further down in the list. I mean, we're going through the list. She's a little further down because Satine is also on here. But yeah, I just thought that was a little funny because for those of us fans who have watched through Clone Wars, have watched through Rebels. Well, you don't really need to watch the Rebels to know this. Corky is really close to Satine, regarded as her nephew. The only family member that we know that Bo and Satine have is Bo and Satine, and Bo-Katan doesn't have any kids. Has since said, because being such a family-oriented culture, she would have brought it up at some point.
And a very strong British accent too that I thought was like
very strong British accent.
I would have cracked him if he just grew a beard and just started doing this every few seconds.
He has red hair, but then again, so does his aunt. His mother has blonde hair. Okay, but who else has red hair? His father. Now, like I said, Disney hasn't come out and said, and we're all but waiting on Dave Filoni to just come out and say.
Yeah.
But we all know.
You know Filoni's going to milk this just a little bit longer.
Just let us... Maybe we'll finally get that reveal during Obi-Wan. Maybe
somebody comes looking for him and like, Obi-Wan, you are the father.
Right. Hey, you owe me some credits. You owe me some credits, Dad.
Yeah. He's like, I'm looking for my father. Where is he? Right here.
right there, buddy. I mean, all I'm saying is we know for a fact that Obi-Wan, prior to the events of the Clone Wars, at some point in the timeline, almost left the Jedi Order to be with Duchess Satine. We know they were romantically involved. I'm just saying, the dots are all there. You guys,
Obi-Wan, as a
do
man
the
as he is, said he was so stick to the rules and the lore of the Jedi, following the creed. Kind of looks the other way with Anakin, and now you're kind of like, well, I can't call him out,
right?
When I'm doing the same
when he's already done it. So I mean, at this point, we're just waiting on Filoni to finally say, yeah, it is who you think it is. Anyway, here's Corky. Corky is a Republic crew card, so we get to slot him with a Republic ship. You can throw him on the gunship. You can put him on.
Put him with Obi-Wan on it?
Put him with Obi-Wan. Yeah, because you can put two on a gunship. So you can put him with his, with his dad on the gunship.
Or you can put all three when that gauntlet comes out.
Yeah, that
Just
too.
saying.
So anyway, Corky Kryze, after a friendly ship in your front side of your
front full arc
at range 1 to 2 becomes the defender. You may transfer 1 green token to it. So say you focus that other ship, maybe spent their focus or wasn't able to focus earlier that round.
Or
now you can
token.
Now you can just pay it forward, pass 1 on over to it. Also, the other half of the ability is while a friendly ship in your front-facing arc at range 1 to 2 defends, if you obstruct the attack, the defender rolls 1 additional defense die, which that's very nice. Kind of works like the gas clouds used to work, where if it was an obstructed shot, you also got an extra defense die. So that's really cool. You get to. It's also a free. Oh, what's that? What's that one ship upgrade that lets you do that?
I know what you're talking about, but it basically just says that while Corky's out there, you're either going to shoot him, or if you try to shoot somebody else, or try to shoot through him, he's got their back.
He's got their back, which is very nice. Speaking of having their back to back, here we have Obi-Wan, the new Obi-Wan crew card with his Duchess Satine right there.
That's the best looking Obi-Wan card.
It does.
I love that armor.
I love that artwork. It looks so good. So anyway, after a friendly ship at range 0-2 spends a focus or evade token, you may spend 1 force, and if you do, that ship gains 1 focus token. So that's very nice.
It's pretty close to what his ability was in the Delta B, except there's no Anakin requirement.
Right.
Of course, he's probably looking after.
He's got to be looking after Corky there.
He's looking at his other boy.
Now this is one that really excited me. Pre Vizsla is now finally an X-wing. hopefully one day in Black Series, but finally in X-Wing. So here we have Pre-Vizsla. While you perform a coordinate action, you may choose a friendly
crew remote. So this is another card that
that's something new.
This is going to be supplemented with the Gauntlet release.
Okay.
These are the Mandalorian remotes. This little 3-pack that you're going to see. That
Oh,
we'll
okay.
review down the road. But what they kind of did was the ability is kind of moot right now because those things
aren't out
available
yet.
But it does give you the white coordinate.
So at the very least, you can add something to a ship that didn't have a coordinate previously. So like the fire spray, for example. If you're flying the Scum or Separatist fire spray, whether it's Jango, Boba, Zam Wessel, whoever, you can now throw Pre-Vizsla on there. Both factions, doesn't matter. And at least if you're flying a swarm of M3As with Scum or a swarm of Vulture droids with Separatists, well, now you can coordinate them.
Yeah.
So we'll go into more on that later. But instead of performing an action, that remote relocates forward using a hard left or hard right or a 2-speed forward template. So you get to readjust. Basically, we're going to be able to add Mandalorians out into these space battles, which is going to be really cool. And that's what that has to do with specifically for that. Yeah. More on that when those game elements actually get released, which, again, they're not out yet. Prime Minister Almec. Prime Minister Almec. This guy certainly did cause a lot of trouble and debate among Star Wars fans.
And this is a flippable card, I believe.
It is a double-sided card. So here we have, he can go on Republic or Scum, which I think is kind of interesting because he was playing both sides, so he's always on top. So on the front side, during setup, equip this side face up. So that's the side face up. After a friendly ship at range 02 reveals a white maneuver. We'll redo that. After a friendly ship at range 02 reveals a white maneuver, if it has no green tokens, it may gain 1 stress token to gain 1 calculate token. During the end phase, if you have 2 or more stress tokens, flip this card. And that's when you get this ability. So this is when we see him in his armor set. Honestly, I really do like his ceremonial armor. It looks very nice, very fancy. I know being flashy usually isn't the way, but hey, I like it. It looks cool.
It's kind of when you see, like, when you look at a lot of the older Mandalorian, especially on that Rebels and Clone Wars and stuff, the way really wasn't the way. Like, they haven't established that. Some of them are real flashy. Some like Gar and everybody likes all about function, bows, evols, but then you watch this guy and he's like, man, I'm gonna dress up a little bit. I'm gonna go a little fancy.
He's a noble. He might be a Mandalorian, but he is still a noble as well. All right, so after a friendly ship at range 02 fully executes a red maneuver, that ship may perform a calculate or focus action on its action bar, even while stressed. That's pretty nice. I like how it switches, just like in his demeanor in the Clone Wars. Switches from being the, just the guy trying to play both sides, just trying to move around the things in front of him, to a more aggressive type of format. And you can see that lore change even in the gameplay of the character.
This is one card that I'm really kind of interested to see with the Gauntlet and some Fangs, because when you start doing those sloops and things like that, this is a way to still get those focus tokens. And like you were saying before, a focus token is worth its weight of gold in 2.5.
We still have a lot of crew cards to go through. This came.
We'll skip through a couple that are kind of just rehashes. But
while it's really nice that we got a decent amount of new pilots, where this pack really shines is in the support stuff, in the upgrades and crew, some of the new upgrade stuff that we're going to be going over. There's just a lot of cool stuff that this pack shines in. Okay, next up we have Strictly Scum. This is Rook Cast, which is going to be interesting. I wonder if we're going to see a return of Jodo Cast. I wonder if they're actually going to make him return into canon, the imposter Boba, as actually Mandalorian. That'll be interesting to see at some point.
They were going to do something with Mandalorian or Book of Boba or something.
With Jodo Cast?
That
would have been cool to see.
Just like a little nudge. But even now they're kind of like, not quite a nudge, but a little kind of wink. But
Then
He's coming around at some point.
Then again, the last name could just be a total coincidence. I could just be speculating out of nothing.
Yeah.
So anyway, after you perform a red action, you may gain one strain token. If you perform an attack, if you are strained, you may change one of your blank results. You can change one of your blank or focus results to a hit result, and this gives you a red target lock action. So you can chain this ability to itself by, flying a ship with this crew card on it, doing a red target lock versus the white target lock that the ship likely has, because most ships also have a target lock ability, and and then immediately just be able to get a strain token, and then
And
do this
abilities are
ability.
separate. One thing that a lot of people kind of forget, like you have to do everything on the card. The second part is not intentioned on the first part. So if you have a strain token, you get the second part. This card is just giving you ability to lock that in, which is really nice.
Right. While also getting a target lock.
Yes.
There's a lot of benefits on that.
It doesn't
card
make
right
all your locks red. That just gives you the ability to do a red target lock. If you have a white one, you can still do the white one.
All right, finally we're getting to Satine Kryze.
Yeah.
There she is, Duchess Satine Kryze.
Mama Kenobi.
Yes.
Obi-Wan's baby mama.
All right, so she's Republic. At the start of the engagement phase, you may spend 2 charges, which she only comes with 2, but they are rechargeable. You just only get 1 per round recharged. So
Yeah, 1 per card.
Oh, you only get
1 force back.
Uh-huh.
But if the card itself has a regen, you get 1 back per card.
Oh, okay, so it doesn't keep recharging then.
No, you get 1 at the end phase.
Right.
But if you have like 4 cards that have that recharging symbol, each card would get a charge.
Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry, you threw me off by saying that.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that.
Yeah. It's the force that if you have like 4 force cards, you only get 1 force back, regardless of everything. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, well, anyway, there you go. So, if once you use this ability, basically you're going to have to wait another 2 rounds to use it again, because you're spending both just to use the ability.
Yeah.
So anyway, at the start of the engagement phase, you may spend 2 charge. If you do, each friendly ship may choose to gain 1 deplete token and 1 focus token, or gain 1 disarm token. I knew they were going to do something with disarm with her. 1 disarm token and 1 evade token, because her whole thing is
And I know a lot of people are like, why would you take a disarm token? Well, if you don't have a shot, that is a free evade token.
Right.
I mean, you're going to get flanked every once in a while, or you may have like a range 3 hope and a prayer shot. You'd be like, you know what, I'm probably going to miss.
Because
Let me take the disarm.
This is nice in the case of, this guy's out in the weeds. He's facing nothing. He has no shots. And then you got this guy coming up behind him. He's got a good shot on him. It's fine to take that disarm token for the round, because he's not going to be shooting at anything anyway.
Because you're going to get Concordia. Here's your second evade.
Right.
He's only rolling
Now,
2 to 3 dice.
Granted, with this ship, you're not going to have Satine because it doesn't have a crew slot. But I'm just saying, as an example, say you have a ship you're getting shot at. It's nice to take that disarm, to your point earlier,
Well, the thing is,
just to get another evade.
the
or
Sabine
an evade.
just has to be on your list. So you can
Satine.
Satine, I'm sorry. So Satine can be done on a Fangful.
Oh yeah, it does
Just
say.
each friendly ship.
It does say.
Yeah, so when people forget,
You're right.
it's each friendly ship, which includes herself. So if you have a
Okay,
4-ship
woodworking
build,
that, yeah.
you could spin those 2, and all 4 of them can do
And
it.
what's nice about this is, I'll go ahead and show this again. What you'll notice is it's not range restricted,
Correct.
meaning anywhere on the board, whether you're
That's why they added that
within
second
range
charge.
or not, that ability still goes off. That's actually very nice to have, and that's Republic only. All right, we're almost done. We're almost through all of the crew here, and there's just so many awesome characters we got. We got
boy.
Savage Oppressed,
Yes.
Scum or Separatist. Was he released on anything previously, or is he brand new?
Savant, I don't think he's in the game.
Okay, so this is his edition.
That might be his first.
I couldn't
edition.
remember if we had. So I knew we had Maul.
Malls, and I do
But I
not.
couldn't remember
I
if we
think
got
this is
Savage.
the debut for Savage.
All right, so Savage Oppressed. After a friendly ship in your firing arc at range 1 to 2 gains a stress or strain token, you may spend a force, and if you do, that ship gains 1 focus token. So this is a nice little support.
That could be the most powerful crew card. I think Savage and Satine are very good. I mean, think about it. When you gain a stress or a strain, how many different ways is there a way to get a stress or give yourself a strain? You do this, not only you're getting a string, you're getting a focus, and there's other ways to give you even more focus tokens.
Right.
I mean, I'm kind of glad that it's in the game, but I'm kind of scared to fly against it. Plus, you get the force token on top of that.
Right.
A lot of people think that's a cool ability, but just having that extra force token, especially now at range 0, where the only way you can mod your dice is with a force token,
Yep.
that's going to be a damn good card.
All right, next up, this one's a separatist one. We've got the assassin, the betrayer. We got Tal Merrick. Setup. Before placing forces, choose one enemy ship and assign the false friend condition to it, which that is so perfectly named. So there's the false friend condition card. So here's what that does. False friend condition does this. During the system phase, if an enemy ship with Tal Merrick upgrade is at range 02, or an enemy remote is at range 02, flip your dial face up. So you're revealing your dial, or rather, Tal is revealing your dial to me because I'm flying with him, so I get to see your dial with him. If you're within these range parameters. Action is gain 1 deplete token and 1 stress token to discard this condition. So you can get rid of this. Also, as an action on this, now we'll go back to this. As an action, if the false friend condition is not assigned to an enemy ship, assign it to an enemy ship in your firing arc at range 02. So we can always have this going.
This is a tennis match on who wants to pay the cost to either get rid of it or who wants to assign it back.
Right.
The thing about it is that this is locking down your opponent's options. So if it's not out there, like if I have it, I can spend an action to get rid of it, but then Bobby can turn right back around, spend an action to give it to me back. So we're going back and forth, just wasting our actions, which I think, luckily it's only separatist.
But it's enough to keep you or your opponent distracted.
Also, we talked about how
while also letting me look at the dial.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
There's a lot of moving. It's a very interesting move. Where's the ball shell game going on while we're also moving in a ship to go in for the kill because you're distracted with that. Oh well, I just got Tal. He's going to show off my dial. Now I got to be careful where I'm going. Well, now I can just sneak in with this other Fang fighter.
Well, and true to the character to be like, I'm doing it 2 straight. You know I'm doing it 2 straight. What am I doing next?
Right.
Yeah. It's like, flip it if you want. Just
pretty cool.
Spin your action.
All right. So next up we have Rebel or Squad, including Gar Saxon, because he did work with Gar Saxon a little bit. So here we have the Tristan Wren crew card. And this is Sabine's brother. While a friendly unit at range 03 performs a missile attack, you may spend 1 charge. If you do, the attacker may change 1 hit to a crit result. And that is a recharging charge. You only get 1 at a time, though. So you're going to have to choose your target wisely if you slot a bunch of your ships or whenever the gauntlet comes out, Space Mandos firing missiles. If you've got them firing missiles or you got a ship firing missiles, if you're doing that multiple times with multiple ships, you only get to do this once per round. But it's nice to force that crit through just in case you have a ship that needs it.
So basically allows you to put Tristan on an Imperial list, but you got to take Gar Saxon to make it work.
To use them. Yep. All right. Next up, we also have Ursa Wren. This is Sabine's mother. So you can maintain up to 2 locks. Each lock must be on different objects. After a friendly ship at range 03 is locked, you may acquire a lock on an enemy ship. That's actually very nice. So there's been other crew or upgrades that allow you to maintain multiple locks. It's nice that
this
the
is like the
Mando
crew version.
Subfaction
Yeah, this is like the crew version
that ability
of
now.
Dutch. You're going to be giving out locks. Having 2 locks, especially if you fly against somebody in this community who loves to fly First Order and jam stuff off. We're not going to name any names. But you're able to have the 2 locks, and then after a friendly ship at range 03 is locked, you may acquire a lock. Key phrase, not an action. So if you have one, if you did a lock action that turn, and this triggers, you can get that second lock.
And then last but not least, this is a crew card that takes up 2 crew slots. So this is, I believe, a new Darth Maul.
Yes.
And this adds an illicit slot to whatever you're flying him on. It's Scum only. You get a reloading force charge and a purple coordinate maneuver, meaning to do this coordinate, you got to spend a force to do it. But that's still pretty cool. You're flying him, on a list with Savage over here. You can do some pretty fun stuff in between the two.
Yeah.
So a lot of awesome crew. I mean, I know that was a lot to cover, but really, they
This is
really
the bread and
added a
butter
lot.
A lot of this, you're thinking, why am I getting this with a bunch of pilot cards? This supplements those.
This supplements that, but also sets up a lot of the things that we still have coming in X-Wing
There's
miniatures
so many
for
triggers here that's really. I can't wait to see what the
the
community comes up
Mandalorian
with.
some fashion. Okay, so next up we got gunners. Aside from crew, you also have gunner characters that you can add to your ships. So, like the Falcon, or in some cases, not always the case, but in some cases, even the Fire Spray, or the Decimator, or the other Falcon, or the other Falcon, or there's lots of different ships with gunners that you can add to them. So first things first, we don't have quite as many gunners. We also have some generic gunners that were repacked into here, so we won't really be covering those too much in detail, but we'll cover the new ones. So here we have Gar Saxon as a gunner. There he is in his
probably my favorite art of all these.
there he
cards.
is in
I
his
love
super
it.
commando armor. I love it. I love it. So there he is, Gar Saxon. Large Scum. So Scum, large or huge ships. So that's interesting. So he's also going to be on
Here's the
Epic
key
Play as
phrase,
well.
Not medium. So
Right.
no fire sprays.
No fire spray.
Yeah.
No Razor Crest when it comes out. No
arcs.
No arcs.
That would be.
Well, arcs not Scum. But he can't just go on.
No
anything.
epic ships. That's also
Nope.
a thing too.
It says
Oh,
huge.
sorry. Oh, I thought you said
So he
that.
can go on the Croc.
So it's just large base.
Large base and huge base.
Okay.
So anyway,
So your slaver, your.
while you
stuff like
perform a target lock action and you only choose an object in your front or rear facing firing arc, you may perform a primary attack. If the defender is in your front or rear facing arc, you may remove one orange or red token from the defender to roll one additional die to a maximum of 4. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's a lot to chew on.
That's a lot to chew on. Anyway, while he's digesting that, we also got suppressive gunners, which I believe originally came with the Republic gunship, the LAAT expansion. So this is nice. There's a lot of other places where this card is very, very useful as an upgrade. But this is one we're familiar with. If you aren't familiar with it, just go ahead and pause and read it. This isn't one I necessarily need to go over. This is a generic gunner upgrade. Next up, we've got Tiber Saxon. So there's Tiber Saxon, not Gar Saxon.
No,
not Gar
no,
Saxon.
I won't say the lesser of the two. The least popular of the two.
The least popular of the two. Gar Saxon was pretty awesome. He was pretty brutal. Tiber Saxon was, I mean, he really leaned into the whole Empire thing. If you're gonna make the argument that one or the other betrayed their Mandalorian heritage, Tiber Saxon would be the one who fits that description very, very well. So here's Tiber Saxon. After you perform an attack at range 1 to 2 that hits, if the defender has no face-up cards, you may spend one or more charges. For each charge you spend, the defender gains 1 strain token. So you can put multiple strains, up to 2, on a defender, which is pretty cool.
This is the equivalent of Han Shot First. You shoot a ship that has not taken any damage. You shoot them, 2 cards go through, you spend 2 charge, now they're double strained. So now your friends are going to shoot them now. You're going to be rolling 1 less. So this is a gang up card. So
next up, we have one more new gunner card here. This one's for either Republic or Separatist. This is Ursa Wren. So this is Clone Wars era Ursa Wren as a gunner rather than a crew. And what she does as a gunner is after you acquire a lock on an enemy unit beyond range 2, if there are no friendly units at range 0-1 of the locked unit, gain 1 calculate token. So you get a little bit of extra firing bonus for getting a range 3 target lock if you don't have any friendlies in the vicinity of that ship.
And I want to say as a key phrase here, it says unit, not ship.
Right.
So that it can include remotes, bombs,
Devices, right.
devices. There's going to be ways to kind of manipulate this. I'm kind of interested to see what comes out.
And then we have another re-release of a generic gunner card here, so you can slot this if you have multiple ships with gunner slots. You can slot as many of these as you're capable of slotting on a list. And again, if you want to read, just go ahead and pause. But that's the other one. We got 2 of those in here, and that's pretty much it for the gunners.
Yeah, if you shoot something that requires a lock, you get your lock back.
So really, we just got 3 new gunners with this, but hey, we got a lot of awesome crew stuff, and even the gunner cards that we got were pretty cool. So next up, we've got some new. I always forget what this one's called.
Now with these, I think there is only 2 or 3 actual new cards in here.
Right. So
these are more the supplemental ones.
So this is what the elite? No, it's called something else. The pilot skill. I think
the elite pilot. I think it's elite pilot talent.
Talent slot. That's what this is. So this is the talent. So this is the first new one we got. Clan training, and I love how this is like a very kind of like Jango Fett, but with a red cape, holding a vibro sword looking set of armor.
It's got like a Superman / Mando cosplay thing.
I like the artwork that we got here. This is really cool. Anyway, this is a Mandalorian factional specific thing. So again, Mandalorians are a sub faction now. So what that means is, if you have a Mandalorian something out there that could possibly slot this on there, like Fen Rao or
check your point sheets. There are keywords.
Right.
So basically, all you have to do is either have a Mandalorian pilot or a Mandalorian crew.
Right.
That gives it that key phrase. I don't know if there's any other off the top of my head just at the moment. But you just have to have a Mandalorian keyword on your build, and that allows you to take it.
Right. So what we have here on clan training is, before you engage, if you are not focused and there is an enemy ship in your front firing arc at range 1, you may spend 1 charge to perform a red focus action. After you perform an action, if the defender is destroyed, you recover a charge. So, not an action. After you perform an attack. Sorry, I misread that. And the defender is destroyed, you can recover 1. So this is really good to put on like a Fang fighter, for example, that you want to joust with, because now you're not only gambling on possibly pushing that damage through, you're getting a red focus to possibly help supplement with those dice results. But then also, if it pays off, if you push that kill through, you get that charge back.
Remember,
without waiting for the recharge on it.
And that second part, it does not have to be at range 1. That is separate from the first paragraph. So if you shoot somebody and you destroy them, you get that charge back. And I think you get 3 of them.
We get 3 of these. Yeah. So there's that. This is also, we're also seeing Deadeye shot back. So we got a few Deadeye shots. This is also something that's been released, a while back here in the X-Wing game. So if you want to read this one, go ahead and pause and read that if you're not familiar with this card. But we got 2 of those. Another upgrade that we're seeing again is Ion Limiter Override. This is specifically a TIE Fighter upgrade. This is one that we've seen before.
This is one thing people forget. It's just TIE, not necessarily TIE Fighter. Anything with the TIE Bomber, TIE Striker, TIE Fighter,
TIE Defender, TIE Interceptor,
the
TIE Advanced.
The V-Wing can actually take it, which is kind of funny. Anything with the TIE key phrase in this.
So anyway, pause that and read it if you'd like. This is one we've seen before. They put it in there because we got TIE Fighter pilots. And there's 2 of these in here. This is another one that we saw before. I think this might have come out with, it was either with, I think, V19s, or did this one come with the Y-Wing?
I believe it came out with the Y-Wing.
But it came out with one of the Republic recent. Yeah. Again, go ahead and pause if you want to read this one. This one's for smaller, medium ships. And that's pretty much it for that.
There's some more rehashes.
So there's all of the, that's all of the talent slot upgrades that we got in the pack. But really the only new one was the clan training. But what's nice about clan training is, unlike Fearless, which is Scum only, you can put clan training on either your Scum Mando build or your Separatist Mando build when the Gauntlet comes out.
Any Mandalorian.
Anyway,
just any Mandalorian.
Whereas Fearless, which was released originally with the Fang Fighter, was Scum only. So now we have something that is okay. What are we doing
We've
next?
got a couple of new cards.
Let's do modifications next.
New modifications. All right.
Where's all the mods that we got with this one?
Here is the.
All right, so here's one of the
Armor.
new mods. We got Beskar reinforced plating. Yeah, we're not only using them for just regular body armor this time. Now we're adding them to our ships as well. So this is also on that Mandalorian sub-faction requirement here. So what this one does is, while you defend, if the attacker is in your front-facing arc, before you would be dealt a face-up damage card, you may spend one charge to be dealt that card face down instead, or spend 2 to discard it instead. So if you keep those 2 charges, and again, you can only do either the first half of this ability the first half of this ability twice, or disregarded damage entirely once, because these charges do not recharge. So you either get to cancel out 2 crits, or either get to turn 2 crits into hits once. No, dang it. You either get to, I'll get this right at some point. You either get to turn 2 crits into hits, or you can get rid of 1 damage entirely.
Yeah.
It's either or.
It's damage mitigation. It just depends on how you want to do it.
And there's 3 of these. So there you go. All right, what do we got next? We got
Mandalorian optics. This is, I think, my favorite.
And we got 3 of these as well. This is also Mandalorian sub-factional. It's a modification. So what this one does is, during the system phase, you may spend 1 charge to require a lock on an object in your firing arc. It doesn't say range. Just says acquire a lock in your firing arc.
A lock does have to be within
Range 3, though. While you perform a primary attack, if you have a lock on the defender, ignore obstacles beyond range 0 obstructing the attack. So if there was some kind of bonus from an obstruction, like say the the Corky ability was in your way, and he would say, hey, that you get to roll an extra dice, this says ignore that. So that's pretty cool that even this can even disregard some of the other things here.
Well, a lot of people, this is one rule that kind of gets people up. Whenever you perform an attack, the attack determines if it's obstructed or not.
Right.
So if you have that and you spend the charge, guess what? That attack is no longer obstructed, and they do not get the bonus dice. So
This is basically, those Mandalorian optics are letting them see through the holes of the asteroids and fire right through them without worry about missing. Mandos, man, they're the best. They're the best for a reason. The best in the biz. Next up, this is a new illicit. So is that all the mods?
that is all the mods.
So next up, we got a new illicit upgrade. So this is usually something you would find in a Scum and Villainy faction. Illicit's finally started to sneak its way into other factions with certain crew or pilots now that are cross-factional play.
You're seeing it Resistance. You're seeing some sneak in the Rebels a little bit.
Even into Empire a little.
Yeah.
Even because
not everybody's all squeaky clean.
Even Moff Gideon has illicit slots just on his pilot. That's awesome. So there's that. So what this does is overturned modulators. During the system phase, if you are not stressed, you may spend a charge to gain 3 calculate tokens. That's nice. During the end phase, if your charge is inactive, for each green token you remove, gain 1 strayed token. So this is nice because it lets you get some calculates in. So you can modify up to 3 calculate bonuses. But when it comes to cleanup at the end phase, and you still have those calculates, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, you're going to lose it.
So you better spend
You're using
them.
Calculates and you're gaining strength, so you're kind of betting on yourself to roll focus results.
Right.
But like I said, if you don't spend them, you're going to pay for it.
But you're starting this out, you're only using this once because it doesn't have a recurring charge.
Yeah.
So it doesn't come back. You're doing this gamble one time, but you're doing it at the system phase, so it's earlier enough to where say you're both engaging and defending, right? You're betting that maybe
you'll
use them.
You're getting the thick of it. You
both.
need those tokens because you now it's have to be attacked. If you're about to take a bunch of shots, you're going to need those because calculates only change 1 die,
Right.
not all your dice. So if you roll 3 focus results, you spend all 3. You're good to go.
And this is nice in the sense of maybe not get a focus token just in case, but go for that target lock. because now you're rolling with
Or
a target
maybe
lock
do
and
that-
3 calculate tokens. That's a pretty good
Or
seat to
do
be
that
in.
boost or that barrel roll to get in the position, but you'll already have the calculate tokens
Right.
as a backup.
Right.
Or somebody forces you to bump. I mean, it's insurance. It's pretty much what it is.
So a pretty cool illicit card. And again, illicits are popping up in more things now. All right, next up we got a new
We're
device.
going to need the new manual for this one.
Right,
'cause
so-
this is a brand new device.
This is a brand new device. This is what's called the Blazer Bomb. So you can wear it during some more casual functions.
If it's windy, you need a little.
Yeah,
Maybe you're going
just a little
golfing or having some cocktails.
Right. You want your explosions to look a little bit nicer.
Nicer.
Right. Anyway,
A little posh, a little-
so Blazer Bomb, this is a bomb during the system phase. You may spend 1 charge, and it only has 1 charge. So you only get to use this bomb once.
Unless you have a reload function, this card can be reloaded.
Sure. Drop a Blazer Bomb using the 1 straight template, of course, unless you have another upgrade that lets you launch the device with a different speed template or a different
Like trajectory simulator.
trajectory template. All right, now let's see what this bad boy does. Where did
I
I
think it's under here.
where did I put the loop? The thing. The thing. The thing.
Manuel! We need the manual.
Manuel was one of my favorite things from Wally. Manuel. All right.
We're on the other side.
You sure?
No,
right.
Do
It's right.
you sure?
It's right there. Right? Yeah.
There's more of it there, too.
Oh, okay. So, okay, you're right. We are on the other side. Hush you. All right. So here's the Blaze Bomb. So those 2 new templates go together.
They go together.
All right. So Blaze Bomb. At the end of activation phase, this device detonates. When this device detonates, each ship and remote at range 0-1 rolls 1 attack die. Each ship or remote suffers 1 damage for each hit or crit result. So I guess you just, if it's a crit, you don't take a crit. You just take a damage
just take a
for
damage,
one or
yeah.
the other.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice. After this device detonates, place a blaze by aligning the blaze's guides to the device's tab. So there's an after effect to the blaze bomb. So it doesn't just go off and then it's done. It goes off and then it leaves,
Like a fireball.
a fireball in space, which doesn't make sense.
Hey,
It's
space.
space.
Space wizards.
But it
Space
is what it
wizards.
is. A blaze is an obstacle. After this obstacle is placed, place a fuse marker on it. During the end phase, remove each blaze with no fuse markers. Then remove 1 fuse marker from each blaze. So at the end of the round where the blaze was set, you put a fuse marker on it.
So basically what this is, the bomb's going to blow off, and this is like the cloud.
Right.
For example. So what this
But it's
cloud-
not permanent.
No. It'll go away after about
2
another
rounds.
round or two. Yeah.
2 rounds.
And if I remember after reading this, it does count as an obstacle. So if you do shoot through it,
It
an
does
extra
count as
die-
obstructed.
It does count as obstructed.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice because you would think if a bomb does go off, it just doesn't go pff and then done.
Right.
Like there should be some after effects.
So, the blaze, what happens when you fly over the blaze, right? So, when this object is placed, fit the guides to the tab of the blaze bomb, which we discussed moments ago. After this obstacle is placed, place a fuse marker on it, which we discussed also. During the end phase, remove each blaze with no fuse markers, then remove 1 fuse marker from each blaze. So again, each blaze only lasts 2 rounds.
So if I drop it this round, it goes off, but the blaze stays until next round. Is pretty much what's happening.
Right. While each ship executes a maneuver, if it moves through or overlaps a blaze obstacle, it executes its maneuver as normal, but suffers the following effect. After executing the maneuver, it rolls 1 attack die. On a hit or crit result, the ship suffers 1 damage. So again, just like with the blaze bomb, you just suffer damage regardless of the result you roll or get. On a focus result, it gains 1 stress token. Then the ship skips its perform action step this round.
That's dangerous. Yeah. Because
Right.
Now you're taking a damage or a strain, and you skip your action.
Right. After remote relocates, if it relocates so that its so that it's. They typed that twice. It says in text.
If it
If it
relocate,
relocates so that it is. They they typed out so that it
somebody's
twice.
missing a comma or something. No.
No, it's
So
typed
that
twice.
it.
Yeah,
All right.
that,
My
that-
head can't
that's an
handle it.
interesting typo.
Oops.
If it relocates so that it is
In a
at range
nutshell, if a
0,
remote goes over the blaze,
it
the remote
suffers
blows
1
up.
damage.
Yeah.
While a unit defends, if the attack is obstructed by a blaze, it rolls 1 additional defense dice. So this is like the old cloud ability, but
Well, it's just
now
a
the blade
standard
does it.
obstacle. If you're shooting through it, you get an extra die out of it.
Oh, so that's just standard.
It's-
Oh
well,
yeah.
that's-
Oh no,
that's-
that always was. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever you shoot through
The
an
other thing,
obstacle,
the cloud was
the
added
cloud
extra
gave you a
result.
free evade.
That's right.
So basically, it was just basically like you're getting a free result. This one, you just get an extra die. There's no guarantee that it's going to miss. But
So there's a lot to do with the new blaze bomb, and it's really a shame because you only get 1.
mm-hmm.
You
I
only
was
get
kind of
1.
surprised that, I mean, with all the stuff they, and I know they're going to give you
I feel
a
like
token, but they give you like 3 or 4,
I feel like you
disarms.
should have got at least 2 or 3 of those in this pack, honestly.
Or at least, well, you're going to have to. I get it, like you have to have the card per cardboard. So if they give you 2 blades, I got to give you 4 cardboards. But I mean, you could throw 1 extra little.
at least
card
at
more in
least 2. I think
Yeah.
minimum 2 would have been nice for this because this isn't factional specific. I mean, can you imagine a TIE bomber list just carpet bombing around, just flying
I'm
and just
saying-
dropping a bunch of
I'm
blaze
just
bombs
saying
in front
there
of a
might
bunch of
be
enemy ships?
4 or 5 Y-wing list that is heavy with bombers that has been known to tilt certain players around here. That this list might
That
be
this-
supplemented with some blaze bombs.
Right. All right. We got some repacks as well. Some more devices. We got false transponder codes for illicit.
It
So
just
that
helps
was
you-
previously
Just
released.
helps you break some locks.
We got some. Let's see. We got some. We haven't gone over those at all, so we'll save those for later. We got a delayed fuses.
Mhm.
That's been in a
Yeah,
lot of things.
That's different
So
from
delayed
the markers, but that's been there since they got converted.
We got some concussion bombs,
Mhm.
in case you didn't have concussion bombs. Thermal detonators, in case you didn't have thermal detonators. We have the electro chafe missile, in case you didn't have that either, which counts for a missile and a bomb slot.
Mhm.
And then we got 2 force upgrades because we do have some force users in this pack. So we got compassion, which is for a light side force user,
Which I'm thinking, was it?
and we got
Obi-Wan.
malice, which is for a dark side force user, which we did get both in this pack.
We
so
got
very good.
Obi-Wan and Ahsoka.
And we got Darth Maul and
Darth Maul.
Savage.
Mhm.
So all in all, there's a lot of stuff. I know we went over a lot of information here, and my X-Wing players who have been playing this game probably since day one or since the launch of 2.0 or even somewhat more recently probably know some of the things we were talking about, but maybe at the same time, hopefully we got some of you interested, maybe checking out the game a little bit more. We are going to be doing more X-Wing content from here on out. We are going to be doing new unboxings every time something comes out, starting here at 2.5. And there is still more stuff to come from X-Wing, and a lot of stuff has been really, really great. This 2.5 just really reined it in just so much better, I think, and I just can't wait to see where we go forward from here. I'm excited for all the new Mando stuff because I love Mandalorian stuff, and I'm just excited to see all the potential we
I can't
have.
wait till the Gauntlet comes out. And
There's
the
just
Razor Crest
so much
comes
cool
out.
setup stuff in here. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed that the 3 pieces weren't released at the same time.
Well, the original idea, what I love about AMG, is that they don't follow a strict schedule. Like with, now I'm not going to harp on FFG, but they were always like every 6 months we're going to do an update, or every X amount of time we're going to do an update. AMG said, look, if there's something wrong, we're going to fix it now. We're not going to wait. And they came out and said, hey, the models are a little delayed, because of COVID and worldwide stuff.
Right.
But what we can do is release pilot packs and stuff like this, or I'm happy with, because I'd rather get 2 or 3 of these a year than wait for, a plastic ship that maybe I may not even fly.
And what's nice in that sense is get updates to existing ships
Mm-hmm.
that should have these pilots on there and didn't maybe when that ship came out,
I was like, you
and
don't have to
not
reinvent
have
the
to
wheel.
buy the same ship again.
Yeah, give me more T-65 pilots, maybe some more to go with the Falcon.
Right.
You know, there's obviously more lore with the Fang, so that's an easy way to do. There's just tons of stuff. Like you can give us a Trapper and the
Right.
Trapper Wolf, and like there's just so much stuff that they could do, and this is the way to do it. If this is something that they're going to go forward, I'm real excited. I'm real happy with it. A lot of game changers in that pack. I can't wait to see that chafe bomb go off on him. I already got builds in my head.
Oh, the blaze bomb, you mean?
The blaze bomb.
Yeah.
Just having that cloud.
Yep. That blaze
can
bomb
obstruct
is going to
things.
be. It's going to make it a lot of fun.
Mhm.
It really it's the after effect.
Yeah.
It's the blaze cloud that's going to make that fun.
Because if you get somebody behind you, you drop a bomb on, they take a damage, and guess what? You just got a free evade. So,
There you
so
go.
kudos to AMG on this. This is
There's
top notch.
you can tell a lot of thought. There's just a lot of thought was put into this, not to only set up a lot of new and improve on a lot of existing mechanics, but the fact that we can see just from this pack alone that they're setting up all of these future mechanics and new concepts going forward with the
And
game.
did their history. They paid
Right.
attention. They just didn't put stuff out. It's like, oh, let's put Gar out there.
Right.
They made the abilities work.
I still want to see Fang fighters in the other three factions though. I still want to see more Fang
It could
fighters.
happen.
It could happen.
Go out and buy this pack. The more they sell, the more chances.
Retail is around $20, depending on where you pick it up, depending on tax rates or sales tax or wherever you purchase your X-wing. But this should be around $20 retail. So there you go. If you can pick it up, if you can order online, go for it, and just add Mandos to your X-wing lists, because now you can add them to just about anything. The only thing they're not on right now is First Order and Resistance. So, and that's honestly because that's the only thing.
Well, they wouldn't be in.
That's the only thing we haven't seen them involved with yet. Those are the only two factions we haven't actually seen Mandos do something with.
We did kind of see him with.
That doesn't count. That the scene at the end of Rise of Skywalker does
Just
not
give
count.
me a generic Fang fighter, one pip, just one card. We'll call it even.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, I know this was a lot to take in. Ask us some questions in the forums. Ask us some questions in the comments. Feel free to comment on some of those things we were having trouble saying earlier. And there you
If
go.
you know how to say those TIE pilot names, let us know.
And let us know what you're excited to see about what's coming in this pack. What did you think about the artwork? Just give us some of that feedback on what you thought, what you would maybe like to see them add with Mandos. Maybe you're brand new to X-Wing. Maybe you're a seasoned player. Doesn't matter. Tell us what you might be excited to see to come out of this or to come with it in the future. Make sure you're going to Rebelscum.com daily for all kinds of awesome news, info, videos, and content. Make sure you're going to RebelscumShop.com for all kinds of awesome exclusive merch and swag. And like and subscribe. Turn on those notifications so you know when videos like this one go up. That's it for today. We'll see you guys later. We'll see you another time. May the Force be with all of you, you Rebel Scum.